Welcome everybody to this live stream all about an event that's taking place in London about live streaming, and specifically those of us who are using Periscope. My name is Krishna Day. You will find me online at krishna.me, and you'll find me on various other platforms under my name, Krishna Day. I'm delighted to be joined here by somebody who I've got to know and really appreciate the work that he does, all about video marketing for businesses. And I met him initially on Periscope and now on BLAB, which is where we're live streaming from today. And that is, I can't stop calling him by his name, his avatar, TV Steve Harris. But I'm sure that people in his family don't call him TV Steve Harris. So very welcome here, Steve, to our event. And we're going to be talking today about this really breaking news. You broke it yesterday on Periscope that there's going to be a summit. So what we're going to do, let me put a bit of context together, and thank you for everybody coming in and joining us here. So if you've got any questions, please feel free to leave them. We're going to unlock our seats later on, but this is a recording that we just want to have to help promote an initiative that Steve, with the blessing and support of the Periscope Summit in the US team, is actually happen. So if you haven't come across it, Periscope Summit is taking place in the US, and it's a community event. It's a paid-for event in the US. They've also announced there's going to be some events in 2016, including Australia. And I was sitting here scratching my head thinking, I wonder what would happen if there was anything that happened in Europe. And I remember at the time, having met Steve through Periscope, I'd been following his content. I think we both tweeted at the same time, around the same time, to the team in the US about, oh, it'd be great to see this in Europe. Well, Steve actually just picked up the reins and ran with it. And he's actually been talking to Kathy Hackle, Ryan Abel in the US, who themselves through Periscope Summit have got the support and blessing of Periscope as in the organization to run summits. So I'm going to do a little quick interview with him around how it came to be and how people can get involved. So thank you so much for spending some time with me today, Steve, because I know that you've been flat out busy, not just with organizing the background to this, but also in terms of actually your client work. But perhaps we can start off and tell people a little bit about who you are and what you do, because I know you're somewhat of a veteran with video marketing. So you're not a newcomer to live streaming by any means. No.
Thank you very much for that introduction. I really appreciate it, Krishna. And thank you very much for your assistance so far, particularly over the last 24 hours. You've been fantastic. My background is video. Yeah, I started out with video back probably just a year or so before YouTube was actually purchased by Google. And the reason I got involved with video is because I found some video software, which allowed us to send video emails to people. I'm not going to go into a great big long story about that, but that was I suppose, the encouragement I needed to sort of get into video. It was probably about 7 or 8 years ago now. And I've stayed with it ever since. The complexity fascinates me with video. Every day is a different challenge, particularly when working with clients and things of that nature. But the psychology of video and what it's used for and how it works fascinates me too, the psychology of it. And I was trying to work out with these new live stream platforms, how do they position for me from the psychology point of view, from that aspect? Where's the interest for me? Where's the longevity within that interest? How long am I going to stay with these platforms? How long am I going to be watching the individuals that I've seen so frequently on these platforms? Is there going to be a wear out factor? And it kind of dawned on me that Periscope is just ideal for outside broadcasts, opposed to within the confines of an office or four walls. And because it's on the fly and people want to see what's going on outside. Of course, they want info-related context, but what the important stuff is where people can get out, interact with life and people and things, and show that through their own eye, through their own camera. And I thought that the summit, the Periscope Summit in the US, in New York, Whilst that's a fantastic event and it's going to have some really, really, I mean, unbelievable entertainment factor there. There'll be comedians and music and speakers. There'll be a whole array of things going on. I felt that, you know, we're missing out here in London town. We feel a bit like Cinderella. We haven't gone to the ball. So I thought it'd be a great idea if we can set up in London town a whole bunch of scopers and broadcast free at all the wonderful places we've got in London, and beam that straight into Periscope, and that's how we roll. That's how I felt it would really work out.
Great. So thank you so much for those of you who are just joining us. I'm here with Steve Harris, who has orchestrated really getting off the ground the first European event under the brand of the Periscope Summit. So the Periscope Summit is taking place in the US. In fact, their first event is in September this year, and they've also got other events in the US, and Australia has been launched. This is the first official one under the Periscope Summit brand that's been launched in London. So my objective today is recording a little piece here with Steve so people can watch this later, find out how to get involved, and also then we'll open up for any of your questions. And I can see your comments here, so I can see that there's lots of people already doing mobile live streaming. And let's remember that, in fact, the reason that Periscope is around is actually around allowing people to actually experience through others' eyes. So whilst we're here on BLAB, and you might think that's ironic, we're on another live streaming platform talking about another live streaming platform, which is happening to have an event in real life. It's kind of meta, really, if you really thought about it. One of the things is that Periscope is about seeing things through other people's eyes. And I think that's a great idea, to be able to bring the wonderful sights and sounds of London to other people, whether they be down the street or another part of the world. For many years, I actually was based right in the heart of London, because that's where the company I was in terms of their head office was. And so I miss it a lot. So let's look at, in terms of really about how people might get involved, because I know there's some things that some admin has to be done behind the scenes, like you've got a website that's going up, you've got a Facebook group, and you've obviously got to make sure you've got the branding there. So tell me a little bit about what you've done to get it so far, and then how we anticipate over the next few days that people are going to be able to say, you know what, I happen to be in London that time, or I live in London, or I want to get involved. And something like myself, I mean, I know I've got people here who are in different countries. So I know that Nazim is here watching, and Samantha's here watching, and neither of them are in London, probably won't be able to get to London for that. There's things that we can do. So let's start off with, what's the work you've done behind the scenes to where we are now? What can we anticipate in terms of how we can say, yep, hands up, I want to get involved, and what that involvement might be? Okay, well, there's a whole array of things that we're going to have to actually cement into place, and working on that right now. I'd just like to say a big thanks to Alicia Cross and Simon Crow, who I was just speaking to, and Grant Cunningham, who have helped me so far get to where we're at. But this isn't about London. This isn't just about London. This is about a community. Okay. Now, there's a huge amount of people that want to connect with people, perhaps maybe in the London area. They may want to make friends with people in the London area. They may have a business that can facilitate services and products within the London area. If anything's got a link in any way, shape or form to London, then anybody, anywhere in the world can have a part of this. The important thing to have a part of this is of course to connect with our website, connect with our Facebook page, connect with our Twitter page, and most important of all, hashtag Scope London. That's a serious point. On the day, let me try and give you a sort of a broad idea. We haven't nailed it. And I should say we're getting a lot of questions at the minute about how much is it. This is a free event. So it's not a traditional conference. It's not replicating what's going on in the US. Steve has got a very different vision. Who knows, there may be another event that comes up, which will be a typical conference or an unconference or a meetup or whatever. So let's hear what Steve has to say. So those of you asking the questions about, it is going to be free for us to participate. But let's look at then, Steve, about what's going to happen on the day, what your vision is.
It's going to be as crazy as my shirt. No, seriously. On the day, we propose to run from 12 noon to 12 midnight. Upon speaking with Kathy and Ryan, they are perhaps maybe suggesting that we run a bit longer than that, because I think midnight takes us up to around 5 or 6 o'clock their time, and they want us to run to 7 o'clock so that we can combine what we're doing and reverse that into their event a wee bit too. Maybe we can, a few of us get on and say a few words so that the guys in the US can hear what we're talking about. So we're running essentially from midday to midnight. And the plan is to have a group leader. I'm not saying a leader, but a person, a representative in one of each of the major places throughout London town. It hasn't got to be through London town. You can broadcast Scope London from your back garden, guys. Let's just scope whatever you want to, but Scope London's the big deal thing here. If you've got a message, you've got anything to say to people, and it's Scope London, hashtag Scope London, that will work fantastic. But the point is, we're going to have people positioned, maybe 2 people from our team positioned in each of the main popular areas like Trafalgar Square, Big Ben, Tower Bridge, Buckingham Palace. We'll have people there. So if there's people that have never scoped before and they're with friends, come along. We'll show you how to Periscope. We'll show you how to use the system, and we'll have a lot of fun doing it. And what's more, you won't have to think about what to say because you'll be in the place already. So the point is, we'll have a couple of guys in each position, London Zoo, all over the place, and we just, it's free to turn up, rock up, and enjoy that time. If you want to go into particular venues, then that's cool as well. We're talking to venues at the moment with a view to getting some concessions on tickets and a whole range of different things.
And I should also say that we've got people here who are kind of commenting that they might actually fly in to be part of this event. They're so inspired by what's going on. Venues such as the Barbican. So the Chris the Practical Head's going to come on. Now, if I had a hat, I'd wear it here, Steve. But the Chris the Practical Hat's going to come on. That some people I know have never scoped before. Part of the objective of this is about encouraging other people to experience live streaming. And it happens to be Periscope we're talking about. But to be honest, it's about getting people comfortable about being on camera or being behind a camera, because some of us have never done this before. But it's a great opportunity to share a story of where we are and what's going on. And also the fact that we're going to be in different locations already. I remember when Periscope started off, people were scoping what's inside their fridge, almost to get them started about being able to talk and narrate and share something. So it's great you've got that idea around that. I should also, though, add with my practical hat on and my kind of risk management and reputation hat on, that you also just need to check that if you're going to scope from a particular location, that you also do have permission. Because there are some venues that actually don't want people to scope. They don't want people to live stream. They don't even want people to take photos.
Well, that's a really good point.
We don't want people to get into trouble. That's not the objective.
No.
So there'll be more things coming out, I'm sure, from yourself, Steve, about guidance around that. I've written about it previously as well. But I think that's the other thing, is you always want to check that the people with you and the environment you're in are happy with your live stream. Well,
that's a fantastic point. And we are I've been in contact with London Zoo today. They want to take me in and lock me up. So I'm keeping my distance. But no, seriously. And they have a scoping team at London Zoo. So we're kind of in just very early stage talks, but it may be that we can team up with some of their guys and there'll be something to turn up for. That's what we want to do.
So, that's brilliant, because you're on the ground in London and you're already making kind of introductions to places, locations that could actually then result in people saying, okay, we want to get together there. Now, I know from our brief conversation, and you've already shared things as well online, that you're hoping that there might even be kind of bringing all those little micro groups together to something at the end of the day as well.
Yeah. Well, the plan is for us to scope during the day. Some people may only scope for half an hour. They may come, they go. People have got different time schedules. There's no ticket to this. It's all free. You just rock up. You can fire up your phone. You don't even have to be sort of at any particular fantastic place. You can be in your back garden, as I said to you. But it's about getting on the stage with us. This is a stage for us all to be able to communicate a message. And you want to be on that stage, then of course the hashtag's important because people will see that hashtag. If you're scoping frequently and videos are saved and it's hashtagged to London's Scope London, getting mixed up now, then that will all be cool. As far as venues are concerned, to answer your question there, Krishna, we are communicating, talking to venues and being very above board about what we're doing, and everything will be cleared up, and there'll be a checklist on our Facebook page and Twitter accounts to tell people what's actually going on. As far as the evening is concerned, we propose to wind things up in the day around 7 o'clock, and then we will meet for the people that want to meet to do a post-scope evening, maybe a couple of drinks, dare I say, and a general chat, and possibly even a couple of speakers. We haven't quite nailed that down so far, but it is definite that there will be something going on in the evening for us to benefit from if people want to. But there may well be a cost for that. I can't provide, 10 people with all their drinks. Now, I'm sure there'll be a few more, but no.
And the other thing to also just remember is that it says free. We mentioned that
today's free.
This is something that, other than, of course, your data plan or your own.
They might want to bring their own sandwiches. I don't know, but it's free.
Yeah.
Free.
Yeah. So I mean, I think the initiative you've got and the fact that the team in the US are really supporting it, I think that's going to get a lot more visibility. So let's look at, as we wrap this pod up before we invite other people in to ask questions. But for this short recording, I wanted to make sure that we cover up a few things like the website. I know you've been working on a website and you've been working on a Facebook group. So that's going to have some new identity in place, or the brand identity in place, that's kind of as part of the Periscope Summit kind of group of events that's going on. So in the meantime, if people have got questions, because we're not going to give that URL out now, but if people have got questions, the best place is to contact you through Twitter, is it, Steve, or any other way?
Best through Twitter right now. DM me on TV Steve Harris on Twitter. I'd be delighted to help you. I'm hoping that we'll go live, any minute, and we may need to go live even if we don't get the branding sorted, because we're working to the very minute right now. So we're going to give a bit more time. I'll hopefully be speaking to Ryan later on today and see where we're at with the design element of this.
So things that we can do, for example, people like myself who can't physically be there on the day, there are still some things we can do beforehand, isn't there, to get involved?
Well,
as well.
There's a huge amount you can do right now. But on the day, of course, we're going to have a headquarters to this event. So there'll be a Periscope headquarters. And the headquarters will be broadcasting on the hour, every hour, a kind of a program of what's going on. It is going to be hugely difficult for us to keep control over when people decide to scope and what they're doing. But the main team guys that we've got positioned in these different areas will be able to coordinate things with headquarters so that they go live at particular times.
It reminds me, I took part in a live stream event on Google Hangouts on Air a couple of years ago. And we actually had somebody, they were South by Southwest, and I was part of the kind of the head office team or the group team or whatever. But we actually were all in different places in the world. And one of the things, we did is we kind of checked in. It was a bit like you're saying there, so that actually even then people can still get involved behind the scenes to know what's going on and to help promote it. The other thing is, of course, just like I'm doing here, I'm talking about it. I invited you in to talk about it. I've written a little article about it. It's about also we can do some things to support getting the word out. Even if we can't be there, chances are we know somebody in our network who is in London. Well,
if people want to hook up, there's no reason why the headquarter role can be from countries all over the world. I can give them the agenda. They've just simply got to get on the hour, every hour, to say, yeah, we're scoping in London, and this is the agenda for the next following hour, broadcasting from Brazil. Of course, we expect people to tell us who they are, but we can do that. We're going to have a bit of fun. We really just want to have a bit of fun with this. It's kind of how I roll. I just don't take these things too seriously, and it'll just go. It'll be fantastic on the day. It'll be fantastic.
So, I mean, I think people, as they're watching here on BLAB, I mean, if you are here, you know, give some hands up, give some props to Steve, because I think it took him just to take the initiative to say, okay, you know what, we're going to do it. He's bought a URL. He's talked to the Periscope team in the US. And, you know, things don't happen like this unless people make them happen. And it's now for us to decide, would we like to support it? My little way of supporting it is to help get the word out in one way, shape, and form. I'm sure, Steve, you and I will talk about some other things that I might be able to support you with in terms of helping promote and build awareness of this and encourage people to come along and participate. So give Steve some hands up. I think it's brilliant that you've taken that initiative, particularly for somebody who's very active in terms of with all your client work. And I know that people will obviously want to follow you on Periscope, follow you on here on BLAB, and of course over on Twitter as well.
Yeah,
I want to
just go back to
an evening event, and I should also just say, because we're here together, what about sponsors? Are you looking for sponsors? And if so, what would they look like and what would they be contributing to?
We are looking for sponsors. We're being very careful about how we set out to go for sponsors right now. We want a little bit more of our foundation built. We need to obviously get our branding correct, because that's critical. And then we'll go for branding, and then we'll go for sponsors. Can't really disclose much in terms of who we're going to target. Maybe local business, maybe national. We just have to see how this thing rolls, really. And also, I need to communicate with the guys over there in the US to find out the commercial aspects of what we can, or what they feel comfortable about us doing, what they don't. I've got to be a bit sensitive to that. But I think it's going to be good, and I think we're going to get some interesting guys on board to help us with that. I just want to say something here, if you don't mind. I really just want to say this. This isn't my show, Krishna. It's not my show. This is not my show. I'm going to reverse back from this. I'd rather be out there with the guys, chatting, mingling, having a bit of fun. There's a lot of talented people that are in the room. I mean, Grant's there. Hopefully he'll come on. He's going to help us out a huge amount. And he's based in Scotland. He wants to come down for this. Very up for it. Alicia Cross, she's in there. Simon has a massive part to play. You and a whole range of other people. The more people that can get involved with this, the better. And if I can reverse out of it to the back, there's a lot more I need to be doing than fronting this up. You guys will be able to front it up. I can get on with stuff in the back room, and it should roll really well. I hope that's the idea.
Well, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put an end to the recording of this. So those of you who are watching this as a replay, I hope you find this of interest. I hope you'll get involved. I hope you'll share about it. We've been here talking about Periscope Summit London, taking place on the 23rd of September. And I'm going to close off the recording in just a moment, just so then we can open it up for other people to come in and actually participate, ask questions. But this is really just to try to help promote what's going on here in terms of the Periscope Summit. So just in terms of who you've been listening to, my name is Krishna Day. And you'll find me online at krishna.me, and you'll also find me at Krishna Day on most social networks. I've been here in conversation with Steve Harris. You'll find him on Twitter at Steve Harris. So just in terms of getting in contact with us, that's how you can do. Those of you who know people are looking for tutorials in terms of using both Periscope and BLAB, since we're talking about Periscope sitting here on BLAB, I've got a lot of video tutorials, so you're very welcome to go over to krishna.me/BLAB for BLAB tutorials, krishna.me for Periscope tutorials. But most importantly, we want you to really help get the message out about the event that's taking place 23rd of September all over London. Really, basically, all of us being ambassadors for London. And hopefully that could get trending on the day too. #ScopeLondon if you're going to talk about this. Thank you again, Steve, for being with me here today. And I hope that we'll see amazing, I'm sure we'll see amazing content on the 23rd of September. So even if you're like me and you can't be there in person, you'll be able to find a way to participate both before and during and after the event. So thanks so much again for being with me here, Steve.